Hollywood loves sequels, especially when they're for lucrative movies that could be squeezed and squeezed until something awful but still marketable plops out onto the floor, is carefully picked up, and then flops straight into cinemas. Sequelizing isn't always done with the integrity of the property or its fans in mind, but just occasionally Hollywood can surprise us all and actually turn down some of the most ludicrous sequel pitches ever heard. I'm Ben from What Culture, and here are 10 crazy sequel pitches that almost ruined great films. Number 10. Indiana Jones and the Monkey King. Before The Last Crusade was set in stone, a young Chris Columbus imagined a world in which Indy is approached by a zoologist and a 200-year-old pygmy, who owes his long life to a magic peach, to find the lost city of Sung Woo Kung, the Monkey King. The plot also had Nazis, obviously, a besotted stowaway named Betsy in the short round role but with a crush on Indy, a native called Scraggy Bria, and a group of guerrilla soldiers. Spielberg ultimately rejected the idea based on his dislike of the supernatural element, and George Lucas went back to trying to make a Holy Grail Indy film. Number 9. E.T. 2. Nocturnal Fears. Somebody once thought that E.T. could be improved upon by making the tiny alien an action hero, reducing his role and having Earth attacked by nasty aliens. That somebody was Steven Spielberg, who wrote a 9-page treatment for Nocturnal Fears, which featured some giant albino aliens that hated E.T., whose real name would have been revealed to be Zrek, and his kind coming to Earth to hunt him down. From there, they torture some animals, kidnap Elliot and his family, and torture them too to find E.T., who then swoops in to save the day, which is pretty much the exact plot of Gremlins 2. Number 8. Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. When Batman hit big, Tim Burton was hot property, and a Beetlejuice sequel was deemed the best way to quickly take advantage of his profile boost, so the studio approached him to write a sequel. Burton apparently didn't feel like playing along, so he pulled an elaborate prank on his own studio, writing the worst script possible as a joke. The sequel would involve the Dietz family planning to open a resort in Hawaii on ancient burial grounds, which upsets militant daughter Lydia, who calls upon Beetlejuice to scare them off the island. Naturally, Beetlejuice uses the opportunity to try and seduce Lydia before drugging and attempting to marry her again. And then the world just sort of implodes in a ridiculous end sequence featuring dinosaurs, the Easter Island heads, and a monster-sized Beetlejuice called Jucifer, which is all sorted out when Lydia uses her psychic powers to summon a giant wave to wash all the badness away. Mental. Number 7. 8. How do you follow up a film as locked into its concept as 7? Well, you go insane. Bring back Morgan Freeman and basically turn him into a wizard detective. That's essentially what New Line Cinema tried to do when they turned a spec script by Ted Griffin and Sean Bailey into a possible 7 sequel. Adapting Morgan Freeman's detective into a psychic, which he mustn't have thought would be helpful in the John Doe case, to catch another serial killer. Mercifully, David Fincher had absolutely no intention of making a sequel, and this probably wasn't helped by the lunatic script. Number 6. Forrest Gump 2. Gump and Co. The terribly named Gump & Co. would have included Forrest Gump taking part in Operation Desert Storm with his best friend Sue the orangutan, who thankfully never made it into the film adaptation of the first book. He'd also helped to destroy the Berlin Wall and also meet an actor called Tom Hanks. Because the story of the book, on which the script by Eric Roth was based, involved the real-life events of the film being shot as a biopic of a real Forrest Gump, affecting Gump's life to the extent that he attended the Oscars for it. What? Number 5. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Again. The original The Day the Earth Stood Still left a lot of unanswered questions, and that was sort of the point. Nevertheless, this didn't stop Fox from trying to bring a sequel to screen in 1981, written by sci-fi legend Ray Bradbury, and adding a cloying solar energy message, as well as some festive joy, a subtle as a sledgehammer messiah message, and a love story. Nah, you're alright. Number 4. Roger Rabbit, The Toon Platoon. Roger Rabbit was a nailed-on noirish pastiche that happened to use animated characters, but its follow-up would have tread completely different waters. The plot would have had a young Roger growing up on a farm before he travels to find his mother, meet his future wife Jessica, join the army, and then had to rescue his beloved when she's kidnapped by Nazis to make a propaganda film. And the rescue is completed by a platoon of fellow Toons, naturally. And he returns a hero into the waiting arms of his parents, one of whom turns out to be Bugs Bunny. Number 3. Gladiator 2. Faced with a dead lead character, how exactly Ridley Scott and Russell Crowe thought they could get away with making a sequel is anyone's guess. But they tried, hiring occasionally bonkers rock star Nick Cave, who came up with a sort of swords and sandals Quantum Leap meets Forrest Gump. Sent back to the living world by the Roman gods after impressing them with his gladiating, Maximus becomes immortal and battles through every major war in history until he eventually ends up working at the Pentagon. It might sound utterly ridiculous, but Russell Crowe apparently loved Cave's utterly insane script, and it was only the studio that saw sense and branded it too over the top. Number 2. Batman Triumphant. If Joel Schumacher hadn't screwed up Batman and Robin,
rubber lips are immune to your charms.
We could have seen the most ridiculous Batman film ever conceived in the shape of Batman Triumphant, which amazingly was optioned when Warner Bros. Were delighted with the dallies of Batman and Robin. Seriously, that's not a joke. They loved it. The massive idiots. The plot was actually not awful. The Scarecrow was set to terrorize Gotham with his nerve toxins, bringing the Joker back as a hallucination, and there would be appearances for Harley Quinn, who would be the Joker's daughter, and Man-Bat. The casting would have possibly had Nick Cage as the Scarecrow, and either Courtney Love or Madonna was going to play Harley Quinn. F***'s sake. Number 1. Jurassic Park 4. Dino Soldiers. To be honest, it's already rather impressive that anyone still wants to see Jurassic Park films after the third one was so mind-numbingly stupid. I mean, for goodness sake, it features Alan Grant somehow accidentally saying the correct raptorish translation for "I'm definitely a dinosaur, don't eat me." The planned sequel would have been even more stupid, though. The writers envisaged an Alien Resurrection-style cloning storyline that would have an evil genius cloning dino half-breed soldiers, who are trained and become part of a super soldier division. Literally, nothing could go wrong with that. The script obviously never made it on screen, but there was some concept art knocked up, and it is the definition of a comedy trumpet sound. And that's our list. Are there any corkers we missed off? I know some of them did sound interesting, but largely, I suppose you could call them shit sequel pitches for whackers, hashtag shit sequel pitches for whackers. Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can even follow me here on Twitter if you fancy. I'm Ben from What Culture, and thanks for watching.